In this video, I'm going to be talking about the different roles of a coach. There are many different roles a sports coach can take on board to enhance and develop their coaching. I have picked out the 4 main roles which can improve a coach's overall level. These include the role model, motivator, innovator, and trainer. A role model is someone who is looked up to by others, and it's very likely that the behaviour that they display will be imitated. A coach could be acting as the team's role model, as they will be admired by their team. They are considered very influential figures, and they have the responsibility to have a positive influence over their players. For younger children especially, role models are very important, as their behaviour will be observed and imitated, and so it's vital that the role model displays positive and appropriate behaviour. Furthermore, often young children want to be liked by the coach, and so will imitate them so that they can impress the coach. It's important that the coaches are role models so that players will listen, follow instructions, and they'll be respected by the team. For example, a coach in tennis who has taught some of the best teams in the league will be seen as a role model by the team, as they all know they are experienced and have helped other teams get to the top of the league. This will make players respect them and want to imitate their behaviour so that they can improve and impress them. The next role I'm going to be talking about is the role of the motivator. A coach being a motivator involves giving a team determination, drive, incentive, and encouragement to help them perform to the best of their abilities by making them work harder. A motivator also plays a part in inspiring a team to exceed their previous goals and motivating and picking up a team when they perform badly or when they falter. As a motivator, factors such as age and personality need to be taken into account. Age is an important factor, as younger children tend to need a lot of encouragement and fun brought into their training sessions, but they won't really be at the stage of needing incentive and drive to perform well, as they'll more be doing the sport because they enjoy it. Whereas those who are older will need more motivation and incentive, as they will experience moments where they don't feel at all motivated because something hasn't gone their way, or they're losing or playing really badly. The coach needs to adapt how they are as a motivator to different ages. An example of when a motivator may be used is in a football match. If the team are displaying very poor performance, losing really badly, and have lost all determination, a motivator would then step in, give the team a team talk to lift the team's mood and give the team some encouragement in hope that this will improve the team's performance and pick them all up. The next role I'm going to be talking about is an innovator. An innovator is an important role for a coach. It involves constantly coming up with new ideas and ways to improve a team's performance. It's all about thinking outside of the box and bringing out new and inventive concepts. The best coaches are those who come up with the most creative and original ideas, which give the team an advantage over the opposition. An innovator is constantly experimenting with new ideas and is willing to take risks to find out the outcome and see if it works or not. But as an innovator, factors such as age, ability, and gender need to be taken into account. If a coach teaches, for example, football to many different age groups and genders, they'll have to make sure that they adapt their ideas to the teams, as those who are older tend to be more experienced and better players than very young children, and so will need more challenging and complex drills, compared to with very young children, as they'll need more simple and fun and engaging tasks so that they stay focused. Furthermore, standard and ability of players in teams can differ a lot, and so the coach will need to make sure that new techniques can be simplified for the weaker players and progress to be harder for the stronger players. An example of when an innovator would be used is in netball. An innovator may be thinking of new set plays in different ways to get the ball up and down the court more fluently each week to try out on teams when they play the next matches. Some of these set plays may end up being a disaster and not work at all, but some of them may really work with the team and change the game completely. The next role is a trainer. Being a trainer is an important role for a coach. It involves teaching the team new skills and making sure all of the players are performing to the best of their abilities, and if they aren't, making sure they start to. A trainer also assesses players' fitness and makes sure all players are fit so they can perform at their best level. A trainer needs to take into account many different factors, such as age, gender, and ability, etc. They should make sure that they consider splitting players into groups based on their ability, so that the more advanced players don't feel held back and the weaker players don't feel pressured or less confident. As sometimes, if weaker players are in the same group as stronger players, it can mean that they feel a bit rubbish and can knock their confidence, which may end up them quitting the sport altogether. Although sometimes splitting teams based on ability can be difficult, as some may feel that they're in the wrong group and their confidence can be knocked due to that. But the trainer needs to assess the situation and do as they feel right. An example of an effective trainer would maybe be in a basketball training session. A trainer would make sure that they look at the players' performances and note what needs to be worked on and practiced in the next session so that players' performances can improve. They would also be thinking about what new skills need to be taught and how to maximise players' performance. I'm now going to be comparing all of the roles and telling you some advantages and limitations of all these roles. So I'm going to start off by talking about role models. So some positive impacts of role models. So role models are a good way of inspiring young children to compete in sport and try something new that's maybe out of their comfort zone. They can increase participant levels in sport. An example of a role model is someone like Jessica Ennis. She's worked hard, shown resilience, and has a great attitude. Many aspiring athletes will look up to her and want to get to her level of competition. She is a good role model for people to have, as she has worked so hard and never given up. Her sport is the heptathlon, so many aspiring individuals may want to be a heptathlete, or they may want to take up one specific sport in the heptathlon, such as javelin, shot put, or long jump. But some people may not necessarily want to do one of her sports, they may choose to do a different sport. Having a role model will encourage people to get out of their comfort zone and try a new sport. Some may already compete regularly in sport, whereas some may not. Those who already do a lot of sport may be inspired to try a new challenging sport which is a bit different, such as whitewater rafting or kayaking. Similarly, role models can help build people's confidence in themselves and their teams. For example, a volleyball team. This will enhance players' performance all round and improve play. Furthermore, observing role models' skills can encourage others to improve their ability and their skills, which will therefore improve the overall performance. However, in contrast, role models can also have a negative influence or effect. Some role models may have certain views which they come out with, which can upset younger people. For example, a young boy who may do dance and football. They may have a role model that they admire who plays football. If this role model then has a negative view, such as only girls can do dance, it's not a boys' sport, or something like that, this can cause the boy to stop doing dance due to feeling embarrassed or because they've heard that it's not a boys' sport, which is completely untrue. So role models can have a negative effect, causing individuals to leave sports because they may feel embarrassed or lacking confidence. Furthermore, if a role model is playing in a game of cricket and is displaying poor behaviour, such as swearing or throwing their cricket bat down in frustration if they get out, younger individuals will be observing this and may imitate this poor behaviour. This can be problematic if at a young age players are developing bad traits which are unsportsmanlike. It can ruin sports. Also, not all role models exemplify fair play, as some have a very bad attitude if they lose, which shouldn't be imitated by younger children. Next is a motivator. So, the good thing is, if a basketball team is losing and all the players have lost motivation and are starting to give up, the coach as a motivator can help pick them up, change their attitude, and hopefully have a positive impact on their performance. In addition to that, if it's the end of a bad season for a football team and the cohesiveness has been lost, the players didn't perform well, and the team's going down a league, this is a situation in which a motivator is vital so that the players don't leave on a bad note, and so they will want to come back fighting next season. The motivator would change the team's attitude by encouraging the team to look at the positives in the sense of what they've done well. Also, they would help a team feel better about the situation and give them a motivational talk. In contrast to that, the role of a motivator isn't very effective or useful in a situation where a rugby team is constantly winning and has lots of motivation already, as a motivation just wouldn't really be required. In addition to that, if a motivator is too over-enthusiastic and ends up just being a bit annoying, then players may feel very frustrated and won't listen or respect the coach. Younger children will tend to prefer over-enthusiastic coaches as they'll find it very fun and more enjoyable, and so will like the motivator. However, as players get older, they tend to find it more annoying when coaches are like that, and they just find it irritating. For example, in a game of hockey, if the motivator is constantly shouting and trying to motivate the team, it can also be very distracting and put players off their game. The next one I'm going to be talking about is an innovator. In gymnastics, a coach being innovative would help keep the team and participants engaged, as bringing new techniques will mean individuals won't get bored, as there will always be something new to learn and improve on. Also, it will make the training more enjoyable and fun, as well as challenging and improving participants' performance. In addition to that, as a coach being innovative, it will also help enhance basketball performance massively if the new ideas and techniques work amongst the team. Furthermore, by changing and experimenting with new and different ideas, it's really likely to find the one that works best for the team. New techniques will be challenging, but the outcome should lead to improved performance. Whereas, if a coach is too innovative and is constantly changing tactics in hockey and thinking of new team ideas, a team may end up getting very confused and will lose track of what they've been taught. Furthermore, if the new ideas or skills the innovator have come up are too complex and hard to carry out, the netball team may end up not enjoying training. It may knock people's confidence as they don't feel they're good enough to do the skills, and people may feel frustrated with the difficulty or may lack interest. Furthermore, certain specialist equipment may be required for the methods, which may be very expensive, so a team may not be able to afford it. And the final role of the trainer. So, fitness is a vital component in many sports, such as hockey, although it's very much overlooked and put to the side, as other more technical skills and tactics are usually considered more important. However, having good fitness is vital in hockey, and so a trainer is an important role for a coach so that the players are able to sustain and keep their stamina to last the whole match. Also, being a trainer would be effective in the fact that groups' interest and engagement, in example badminton, would be kept up. This is because the tactical side of badminton needs to be focused on, as well as the general technique. Tactics are a great way of keeping individuals' motivation and interest, as it's engaging for the players, and can make them feel more determined as they have a better understanding of what they can do in certain situations to win a point or to improve their performance. Furthermore, if a player's progress is being monitored by a trainer, it can help with their confidence, motivation and enjoyment, as they'll want to keep on improving and challenging themselves so their performance increases and improves. However, if a coach isn't a specialist in being the role of a trainer, it can be problematic. For example, in rugby, there's a very technical side to it which needs to be taught to the team. If the coach isn't a specialist in something like rugby, it can be very dangerous and the safety of players could be at risk if, for example, the tackles aren't taught correctly or something like that. Furthermore, as trainers monitor and aim to improve players' fitness, drills and tasks will be run by the coach to improve this, if for some players it's a weak area of weakness. In sports, certain positions of a game may not be as active or involve as much running. For example, in netball, a goal shoot. A player performing as goal shoot may think it's not necessary that they have good fitness, but as a trainer they would want all their players to be fit and versatile so they can play other positions if necessary. If they're wanting players' fitness to improve and are focusing solely on it, it can lead to many players becoming bored or losing interest. This could lead to players quitting the sport as they may just not be enjoying training because they're finding it too fitness-based. The team's performance may decrease if it's all focused on fitness because there isn't enough variation if they aren't practicing playing as a team. The trainer has to also take into account what the team enjoy and incorporate fitness into the drill to make it more fun for people. So overall, all of the roles a coach can take up all have some effective and ineffective areas to them. All of the roles can improve a team's performance, but there are downsides to these roles which may disrupt performance. All the results are similar in the fact that they all have a positive influence over the team and players' performance will improve as a result. But there are differences between all of these roles. A role model and a motivator are different in the sense that players will observe a role model and imitate their behaviour, whereas a motivator has to make an effort with the team to keep the team's spirit alive and keep the positive attitude amongst the team. A trainer and an innovator are different in the sense that a trainer could be problematic for a team if they aren't specialised, due to injuries being very common, whereas an innovator could be problematic for a team if the drills are too complex or difficult.